Welcome back to Space Engineers. This time we're doing the DSMV Buffalo. It's a mobile exploration habitat. It's basically a big honkin' super sci-fi motorhome. Right now the suspension is lowered all the way down, so the ramp is close to the ground. This is the back end. So you can access this without without a jetpack, without any issues. It's got a bottom connector that you can flip down to connect or connect from the rear. Make sure the suspension is raised when you lower that, or you'll have some issues. I guess we'll go underneath of it. And here I tried to make it look like it had actual drivetrain, you know, axles, that kind of thing. Some belly protection. Again, I tried to make it look like it had, you know, an actual drivetrain with the round conveyor tubes. I think it turned out alright. Same thing up front. Got an ore detector, of course, in case you want to find some ores. That's the driver's cockpit right there. I really hope I remember to turn off lightning damage. You had the quick tour around the front, but yeah, that's the driving position in there. That's habitation. That's a look into the mess hall. A couple simple Gatlings for you know, protection. This doesn't contain any mods. It has all the DLC, but no mods. Got some atmospheric engines there for extra propulsion, getting up hills and stuff. You know, this thing's not small. We'll get to that thing later. This is a double bill. But let's hop inside. Oh, well, let's land in a meteor crater. Alright, so as anybody who's tried to run up a set of hangar doors knows, they're not the smoothest things in the world. But if you run out of jetpack, well, at least you can make it up. You know, it's not a perfect solution. In here, we have a modified Sparrow. I had to shorten the nose and cut the black part of the wings off in order to get it to fit in here. It's not a very big, it's just meant to be in, you know, maintenance access as a cargo container if you want to bring stuff in. Pardon me a moment. No thunderstorms, please. Alright, so that's the back end. Again, meant to be accessible without a jetpack. And if you want, these are the buttons here to bring up the ramp. I don't know if I have that. So these might not be set up when you spawn it in, but they're not hard to set up. So set them up how you like. Do what you want with them. Up here we have a landing deck. It's big enough for a Manta EL6 shuttle. So it's a fair size. It's a tight fit, but it will fit. So you can get a decent sized flyer up here if you want to have some kind of exploration thing or a mining rover or something. And access to the inside is up here. You've got a nice, you know, observation deck. Seeing what's going on. Accessible from both sides. And then we go downstairs into the living quarters. This is the window I peeked in here. And we have a little eating area, storage, place to chill out, watch the messed up texture television. This is kind of just empty space, you know, get some natural lighting in here, but if you need to add control terminals or something, you know, there's usable space here if you want to add different things. Down here we get the rest of the living quarters. Left and right, same thing. Got a cabin here, bed, changing area, television, bathroom. Yeah, you can see what the weather is. It says thunderstorm, but it's not. Turn the TV and the lights off. Same thing on this side. Not a big crew complement, but you know, you could probably add a cabin or two up there, small ones. Back here, basic medical. Everything you need for survival, you know. spawn point, obviously. A little bit farther forward, we have access to the cockpit. Here we have an assembler if you need one. Cargo access, I think that's the refinery. So if you need to build any spare parts, you should be able to, or you want to start building an outpost, you can get the basics going and at least have enough to build more complicated assemblers and refineries if need be. Down in here, we have the driving position. There you go. So I have the suspension lowered right now. I don't have the wheels set up for raising and lowering the suspension, so when you spawn it in, you'll have to set it up. But the wheels are grouped, so it won't be difficult for you to set it up. We can roll that up. And it tucks up nice-ish. You know, I wanted to try and keep it from having too much of a butt hanging out over the back, so you can go up to fairly steep slopes. So it's got about a 45-degree approach angle from the rear, roughly, and about a 60-degree angle approach angle from the front, maybe. It's well balanced. It goes quite fast eventually. So on smooth ground, you can jump this thing. It'll land just fine. It's not going to hurt it. There's no gyros on it. Like I said, if you drive with the sense of not being an idiot, you should be fine. You know, if you fly off the edge of a cliff and fall half a kilometer, that's not bad design. That's bad driving. So, but I've jumped it a few times and driven across Mars quite a lot, and I rather enjoy driving it because you don't really have to worry too much. You take it off a jump, it's going to pretty much stay at whatever angle you left the ground at. So it's relatively well balanced weight-wise. It does tend to favor the back end. Obviously, there's more weight in the back. So that's why I dropped a couple of axles around back. Oh, we get crap with it. Alright, so this will be part 2 of the video. This is the this is the DSMV Ironhorse Mark II. The Mark I's pretty much exactly the same, except it has a different belly connector, and I had to change it because it kept smashing into the ground because it was too close to the ground. Anyway, this is a cargo vessel. Call it a small cargo vessel. You need one mod to make it functional, and that is flares torch drive. That's why I have blue hydrogen thrusters. They're very fuel efficient, and they're 2 to 3 times more powerful than your standard hydrogen thrusters. And I like them because A, they match the ions, and B, they make it possible to build ships, like cargo ships, that can take off with a fair load on them from a 1G planet in an atmosphere without turning the entire bottom of your ship into one giant cluster cluster, whatever. So yeah, when you spawn this thing in, it will be heavy. I've got like 1.5 million kilograms worth of various bits and pieces, parts, and ice on it, because I was using it for cargo missions and trade missions in the base game to make some money. So yeah, so it's heavy. It's got some stuff on it. So if you're wondering, if you empty it out, it'll be 1.5 million, 2 million kilograms lighter than it is now. As it stands, it can take off and land with that much cargo on it from a 1G planet in an atmosphere. It just came from there. So there you go. Launching from Earth-like to space with 1.5 million kilograms of cargo, I used 5% of my fuel. So it's quite a fuel-efficient rig with those on. With regular hydrogens on, I don't know if you'd be able to take off with as much cargo as I have on. So you're going to need that mod. It has a weapons mod. I think it's the assault weapons mod, but it could be the battle cannons and turrets mod. Either or, it doesn't matter. It's only got a couple turrets on it, right? So if you spawn it in with the Flare's torch drive, it'll work, and then you can just add whatever turrets you want to it. It has 2 large cargo containers and 1 large hydrogen container. So it has quite a bit of cargo space. Here's the cockpit. Fantastic view, as you can tell. Not a battleship. It's meant to be functional, so you need to see where you're going. In here we have a little window into crew quarters, a little window into the upstairs. Access door on the one side, there's another one on the other side. There's a hydrogen tank. In here we have, it's one of the cargo containers, I think the other one's underneath the hydrogen tank. I'm not sure, I buried it in there, I can't remember where exactly it is. It's the access passageways. This is the new connector assembly. It's meant to fold up. You can access a cargo container from the outside if you need to, or just fly in and out if you want. Currently the landing gear is folded up. It locks to the ship, nice and solid, covers up a lot of piping and stuff in there. And you can see it's got a warp drive, just one. It doesn't have a huge warp range, depending on weight, obviously, but it's got one, so you don't have to do things the slow way. This side is the same as the other side. The only difference is the window arrangement. You can see into the little eating area and the co-pilot / technician seat right there. And up here's another window into the upstairs. It'll house crew 3, pilot, and 2 other people, or 2 pilots or 3 pilots, whatever, 3 people. And the difference between Mark 1 and Mark 2 is in the Mark II, I added some of the new low-profile Atmos to give it a little bit more thrust in atmosphere. Just for the sake of it. It helps save a bit on fuel, takes a bit of the strain off the other engines. But if you're coming at it from the ground, obviously the landing gear would be down. If you're coming at it from the ground, you come under here. Well, I've left the door open. So that's all covered up so you can't see it. But if you want to get in, flip that up. Hit the button. Oh, I'm going to do a video edit. I forgot to unlock those rotors. So give me a second. Alright. As I was saying, you'd be walking from the ground. This is reachable from the ground. No too many issues. Push the button. And she flips out. If you have any issues with this smacking stuff before it's folded down, just go into Con Hinge 2 and increase the speed of this. It doesn't matter how fast or slow it goes up and down, it won't bang into anything up in the ship. So you want that to be folded down first while the secondary hinge lowers it slowly onto where the connector would be. You can always fold this down first if you're landing so you can line up the connector. Then anyway, from the ground, it's, if that's connected, it's just a quick little hop onto the platforms here. I'm not going to do it because I'm not in gravity, and trying to get over all these things without gravity are going to be weird. But you can just do a little quick hop. Relatively safe, it's got the bright coloring for people who don't realize where they're walking. I'm one of them. From chewing bubblegum, then I'll find every crack in the pavement and twist an ankle on, I promise you. And you can access it from here. There's no lock access from here, it's just up and down. But you wouldn't lock this until you get into the cockpit, and then you put the hinge locks on it, and then it won't flap around if you lose power in space. So, there you go. These are the new scaffold blocks. I tried to fit them in here. It's hard to get joints like this that hinge up and down to work well together because they'll catch. So if I put a full walkway there, even if it wasn't connected, it would stop that hinge from going down. So as long as everything's got room to slide, if for some reason you want to turn the landing lights on and off while you're on the ground, I included a button for that. You may want to set this button up perhaps for the hinge locks, or put a more complicated button panel on. But I like these because they're tucked away and they look like greebles, but they're actually functional. I can't believe my magnetic boots actually put up with me going over there without launching me into space. Anyway, so this is how you get in the ship. Obviously it's wacky because there's no gravity, but as soon as you get to the doors here, you're in gravity. So inside here, that's the other side to get out. Quick little access passageway, kitchen, somewhere to eat, co-pilot seat. Up here is your med bay. It's a bit of an awkward spot to reach, but if you die and respawn here, you'll like plop down and you'll land like right here. But this is probably the view you'll get because you'll whoop. So it's functional. It won't kill you to spawn in there, but it's a bit weird. I couldn't find anywhere to hook it up where I could actually connect it to some of the piping and not have it be stuck out in a weird place in the middle of the way. Anyway, deck 1. Here you go. Basic cohabitation quarters. Gotta have the essentials, of course. If we go upstairs, sometimes you'll get caught on the edge of that door. It clips through these stairs. It's a bit bumpy, but in gravity it's not so bad. So we have bunk there for somebody, bunk there for somebody. They can look outside. You know, on Earth they're called windows. In space they're called sanity maintainers. We'll walk right across here. You have the rear access to the survival kit, so if you want to put oxygen bottles in there and fill it up, you can. A little window. A couple more windows. And in here we have the very modest captain's quarters. Just somewhere to change, grab your rifle, have a nap. And that's all there is. That's one of the H2O2 generators. If you turn the landing lights off, that blinking light will stop if that annoys you. So there, that's the living quarters. Pretty compact and Spartan, but again, it's just a little cargo ship. 3 or 4 day journey out to get to the next station or whatever, you're good. You get all the amenities of home. It has artificial gravity. In here, if you wanted to expand your crew complement, especially with the new blocks, you could easily turn this into a more improved captain's quarters. You know, if you want to start taking passengers, you could have a couple crews sleeping in the bunks and the passengers with private quarters. You know, I suppose you could make a fancier lounge out of this. It's a free space. You know, with the new updates and stuff, if you want to turn this into a miner and put a belly drill or something on it, you could put server racks and control blocks in here. Here, the captain's chair. We'll go to the inside view, as you can see. Fantastic visibility. You know, you're gonna have a good time flying this ship. It's fun to fly. I'll switch to third person and I'll show you how the landing gear works. All right. I'm gonna switch the HUD on. All right. So the is this the first page? Yeah, first page. At the top we have lights. And on the right, that's the hinge lock. Turn that off. Now that's just the suspension. The landing gear at the bottom says unlocked, but that's because the front gear doesn't lock anything. You can see the green gear is green, so it is locked. I want to unlock that. Then you can hit the hinge on the left, and the landing gear will come out. And it's not quite as pretty with the landing gear out, but it is functional, good solid landing gear. And if you lock the hinge locks, then, you know, I mean, it doesn't look that bad with the gear out, right? Looks pretty beefy. I like the front legs. They look like they're pretty hefty. It's got a bit of a bulldog look to it. Got some tucked away headlights there. The front there, that's a beacon. And there you go. That's the old girl folded out. I'll do the tail thingy. Let's see. Here's all the engine controls. Like just another repeat button for the lights if you want to maybe put a turret control on that, whatever. Here's all the engines. So next page we have the warp drives and a button to turn all the weapons on and off. If you spawn it in without the weapons, obviously you won't have that button there. It'll just be a gray block of nothing. So, you know, in here we have the connector controls, and this is where you'll find the hinge lock for. Yeah, you can hear it clanging around when I turn it on and off for the belly connector, and the button also done full. And if you want to lock it while it's down, well, you can do that, and you'll have a fairly solid connection. Again, land first. Make sure all your engines are off and you've got a good solid connection on the ground. Lock your landing gear, then lock the piston. If your engines are on and you're in space and you lock the piston, your inertial dampers are going to fight with the inertial dampers of whatever you're locked to, and your ship's going to have a seizure and everything's going to clang and explode. So, again, never lock your connector until either your inertial dampers are off or your engines are off. Just a tip. I learned the hard way, and it's not fun. There we go. And I'm going to lock that. Make sure she's nice and stout. And what do we got here? Oh, beacon on, off. Gravity on, off. It's got a hydrogen engine in it if you need backup power. And I suppose if you were here, you could turn the hydrogen tank to stockpile on, off, whatever. If you've played Space Engineers, you know how to set up your hotkeys to do whatever you like. And if you're on PC, then they're all stretched out nicely in an even row. You don't have to deal with selector wheels. Anyways, I'm gonna fold up the landing gear. See in the back there, it covers up a bunch of stuff. You may want to replace that one conveyor block underneath the hydrogen engine and at the top of the screen there with an armored conveyor block that has the flat top to make it look nice, but I didn't feel like replacing the hydrogen engine and then re-adding it to my list of stuff. Everything in here is labeled and grouped. So, these are the two connector hinges if you need to change any of the speeds. The rest is self-evident. That's your hinges for making the gear go up and down, landing gear, connectors, connector hinges. That's the group of these two, but I left them on there just so you can find them if you need to adjust the speed. And you can see when I unhide stuff, it's got a fair bit of stuff in here. So, but everything that you need to know what it is probably probably labeled, but it's all grouped and ready to go. So you don't have to worry about fishing through a bunch of completely unmarked stuff to try and get this thing to do what you want it to. And if you choose to, you can put a connector in where one of those Atmos is and replace the Atmos with a drill arm. I didn't upload that modification, but there is connectors in there that you can get to. See how there's a conveyor block just behind the last Atmo there. You can run a pipe through there and put an unfolding drill arm if you want to use this for drilling into asteroids or anything like that. Like I said, there's empty space enough inside in the crew compartment if you want to gut it and turn it into something else. It's moddable. It's never going to be a warship, but it's a useful ship, and it's not too big. It doesn't have a huge amount of PC or anything. And even fully loaded, it only weighs 2.5 million kilograms. So if you unloaded this, it would weigh about 1 million kilograms. It's not a super heavy ship, so I like it. It's just useful. It's fairly pretty. It's available on mod.io. DSMV Ironhorse. Make sure you go for the Mark II and you have Flare's torch drive installed as a mod. I have it on PS5 and Xbox, so it works on both consoles. It's a nice simple mod, and it'll make your builds a lot prettier and a lot easier to do once you get used to how many of the blue hydros you need. Anyway, have fun. Feel free to use any of my builds in RP video, just for shits and giggles. I built them so people can enjoy them. Obviously I'm not getting paid to build them, so if somebody else has fun with them, that's payment to me. I like seeing people play with my toys. Anyway, have a good one, and we'll see you on the next build. Have no idea what it is. I've got a couple more ships I might like to show off. After that, I'm going to have to start building new stuff. So we'll catch you then. Later.